welcome back. Today is all about dahlias. We will be planting some seeds today and get them pre-sprouted. And then I have to show you my dahlia cuttings because boy, oh boy, do they really need to be potted up. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Kristy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A, and we are moving on to my second year selling flowers at my roadside flower stand. And I really wanted to bulk up my dahlias. Now, last year I started so many dahlia seedlings. I had 2 big patches in my rows that I tilled over the spring, and I kept some of them because I did have some that just were absolutely stunning. I couldn't believe that this just came from one tiny seed and just, you know, I'm just used to tubers. So that was so much fun getting those nice surprises. And I actually still have some seeds left that I purchased from a seller on Facebook. And I purchased like 200 seeds or something like that. And hers were stunning. I'm going to put some videos and pictures up because they were just so full. They weren't like those single petaled ones. I actually had a whole entire patch of some single petaled ones. Now, those are great for the pollinators and for the bees, you know, coming in. They were happy as could be. However, I just didn't use them for my bouquets because basically I feel like once I picked them, they lasted like a day and then the petals were falling off and they're just really fragile. So I kind of just let them bloom for the bees, deadheaded them. And then I actually used a lot of those flowers for foliage for my bouquets in my mason jars. So that was a nice little dual purpose with those dahlias. But today we are going to be starting some specific ones. As I mentioned, I purchased from a seller on I think a Dahlia Facebook group. I'm not quite sure, but I did have a handful of her seeds left, and this is going to be my last year, I feel like, starting seeds right now. So I'm going to get all of hers started in something as simple as a takeout container with some drainage holes. That is how I get mine all pre-sprouted, and then I'll pot them up into some 6-cell packs later on. And then these are my dahlia cuttings, and let me tell you, they really need to get potted up because I was looking at one of them, and I literally just laughed because the roots are growing out from the top. So these are the dahlia cuttings that we took together. And well, this is probably like my first round, but a lot of them actually need to be potted up. I think like these ones have some roots popping out. So I am going to be potting those up into some cheap 3-inch pots that I got at the Dollar Tree. They are on their like 3rd or 4th year now, and they did fabulous. And that's what I did last year with my dahlias, is I potted up my seedlings into those later on. They were great. But yeah, look at these roots. Really, really need to get these into some pots. So we're going to do that today. First, we are going to start some dahlia seeds, and then we'll work on to our cuttings. And I'm still taking cuttings right now. I kind of just do them sporadically at night. They're super simple. I did a whole entire video on beginner friendly how to take cuttings. This is my first year doing so, and I'm very excited to be growing my dahlia patch for my roadside flower stand. This year I am actually going to be making, in a few weeks I hope, or maybe like a month, I'm going to be making 5, I think it's either 10 or 12 foot beds that are 3 feet wide, and those will just be for my dahlias. They will be getting way more sunlight than they did last year when I planted out my tubers. So we're slowly learning. So let's get on to the seeds, and then we'll move on to the cuttings. What's really cool about dahlia seedlings is that you can germinate them so many different ways. I personally like to use this takeout container, which I just put a bunch of holes in with a drill. And then I will just put as my humidity dome, just the top of it on. I will just mist them and put them on the heat mat. Sometimes I'll put another bottom one too, just in case. But I had a lot of success that way. You're not taking up some cell trays, and they kind of pop up at different times, I've noticed. You can also do it in a paper baggie method where you put them on a damp paper towel and then you put them in a paper bag. Same way, and then you'll just pot them into a tray later on. But I just found this super helpful. So as I mentioned, I do have some seeds left over. They are from her 2024 collection. I'm honestly just going to chuck all of them, I think. Hopefully I can fit them all into here. They take about 3 to 5 days to germinate. Sometimes they might take a little bit longer. Oh, look, the sun is coming out. I've missed the sunshine. It's been very cloudy, so sorry if the sun keeps going in and out. So we do have these like big windows in here, which is why I like starting seeds, is because it gets nice and warm in here without having to turn the heat on. It's like basically a mini greenhouse here in my master bedroom, except those top windows don't have shades on. So we're going to be just moving around, I guess. You're going to want the temperatures for your heat mat anywhere between 65 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So I will be probably putting them on their own small little heat mat. And I do use a probe to help make sure that the temperature stays regulated. And I will spray them with some water, a little mister, or I have even like a little hand one, at least once in the morning or in the afternoon once I start to see that soil get a little bit dry. Right next to me, I have my pre-moistened potting soil. I just add some water to some Pro Mix, and then I'm going to just give it like a good inch or so in here. Then we'll get in close. I'll show you how I just completely lay them flat. Then you're going to cover all the seeds with a nice, I would say a 1/4 inch of soil. Then we'll moisten them in. I will still put some vermiculite on top. And then once I put the soil on, probably about like a 1/4 inch or so, I'm going to just put some vermiculite on top. It'll help with the moisture control, especially because some seeds take a little bit longer than most. And if you have more than one variety, I would just use a different takeout container, or you can just take your plant tag and put a little divider in if you don't want to use it, but you can really cram a lot in here. Once I start to see like a first set of like little leaves, like the little first leaves that they get, I'd rather call it cotyledons or something like that, then I will pull them out and then get them into a 6-cell tray. So I'm going to get nice and close so you can see the whole entire process. It's really simple. And then once they start to pop up and I'm potting them up, I'll do another video to show you how we do that as well. Okay, so as you can see, I have my takeout container. I just took a drill and I made some holes, and I'm just going to cover this with some pre-moistened potting soil. And you're just going to make sure you press it down nicely. And I'll probably put like a good inch or so, or 1/2 inch. I don't know. You just want to make sure it's covered. And I want to make sure that you push it down firm enough. And basically, you just want to make sure that there's enough just for like the roots. And then you will be pricking them out, but you also want to make sure you have some room for their leaves to be able to pop up. All right, so that looks about good. And I just have a plant tag. So today is going to be the 14th of March. So I just like to stick it right here. And then I have all my seeds. As you can see, there are a good amount. I'm just going to dump both of these in. Oh gosh, there's actually really a lot. I remember when she sent me, she said like some were but some were good. So I am going to take my little dahlia seed. And I did save a bunch too. So I have it right there. And I am just going to lay them flat. And it's as simple as that, spacing them out a little bit so they're not growing on top of each other. And like I said, I remember her saying you can always give them like a little squish test to see if they're viable or not. I know when I was saving seeds, sometimes I couldn't tell if there was, really anything in there. But if you squish them, I'll do that with like my cone flour, and I'll kind of just gauge whether there's something there. But I like this way too, because then you're not wasting cell trays and taking them off maybe the heat mat too early, and then some of them not germinating. But it's so much fun to see what everything looks like afterwards. And I mean, I'm making rows. You don't even have to do that. It kind of just helps me tell where maybe another one might pop up. Sometimes I remember towards the end, I was trying to like dig around to see if there was actually anything still in there. But I am just going to be trying to space them out as best as I can so nothing gets tangled. But yes, I had some beautiful seedlings and I tried saving them. I got to actually take them out of storage because I would love to take some cuttings, especially of one specific one that I had. It was just this like beautiful like orange, and it was just so nice and full with so many petals. Like these ones, I'm not quite sure if anything will happen with those, but we'll scatter them around. And I'm going to take some of the other ones and do the same. Now these ones feel a little bit too thin. All right, where's the rest? I said I was not going to start dahlia seeds, and look at me starting some seeds. I didn't buy any from Floret this year. I might maybe next year if she offers them again, but I just really wanted to focus more on zinnias. And then maybe we'll try dahlias again later next year. All right, that's good. I still have some left, so maybe we'll save those for next year. There's actually only a couple left. All right, perfect. So this is what it's going to look like. Simple enough. And we're just going to cover them with some more soil and just make sure we press down nice and lightly, just so that way everything has good contact with the soil. And it's seriously as simple as this. If you put them in the paper bag, I tried that before, but I just had too much issues with molding. I don't know if I just had them too damp. This was just a little bit more controlled for me and a little bit easier for me to check on because of the clear plastic top. I could just pop it off or just look in. All right, and I think we have them all covered. I try and get some of these bigger chunks broken up. All right, there we have it. And then we're going to water them in. And then I'll put some vermiculite on top too. And add a little bit more water. If I can find my vermiculite, that is. All right, there we go. And then we'll water them in one more time. And pop the lid on. And that is literally it. Super simple. And there you have it. So now our dahlia seedlings are good to go. I'm going to get these on a heat mat at 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. I can stick a little probe in here. I might have a heat mat. I think I have one on right now, but I believe it's at 75 degrees. It has my marigolds. I started cherry tomatoes this morning as well. And I forgot what else I have over there, but there's something else. I'm going to be starting mountain mint later, and I don't know the temperature quite yet about what that has to be. I'll have to look at my notes. Anyways, we are moving on to our cuttings. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of them. I started this first batch. Oh, these look to be, yeah, like the smallest ones. Like usually they'll start off like this. I don't know why these ones are looking a little sad. Maybe they're just too moist. But this is what they started off like. And then, oh, here comes the sun again. They got to like this and all the roots are popping out. So I'm going to get definitely these 6. And in these we have Valley Rust Bucket, Robin Hood, Copper Boy, Wine Eyed Jill. I have 2 of those, Last Dance. So these are some cuttings. And I got all of my tubers from a local dahlia grower, and she sold them to me at like such a good price, so I could not resist it. All right, these ones are too small. There was definitely, all right, these ones have some roots, so maybe I will only be doing those 6 for today. Oh, these ones have some too, so we'll see. Oh yeah, these are all rooted as well. You can kind of see them, hopefully, right there. They're starting to pop out. All right, so let's get these going. And all I'm going to do is fill this up with some of my pre-moistened potting soil. And again, this is just Pro Mix. I have a nice bucket over here. So I'm going to fill it up, and then I have this handy dandy tool that came with a lot of my seed starting kit. So I will be using this today. And I'm just going to go in, scoop it out, and plop it in there. So I didn't set up the camera quite ready for that. So let me move this so you can get a better idea. And then maybe I'll take a closer look for you afterwards. Okay, here we go. Much better. So I have this big bin. Again, I think it was like $8 at Home Depot. Now, mind you, that was a couple of years ago. But it is like the best thing. I use that for all my potting soil to get it ready. So I have my pot, and I'm just going to take this little tool. And I mean, I'm sure I could probably just pull it out, but I don't want to break anything. Maybe if I squish it around, it might just pop up. There we go. All right, let's see. So this is Valley Rust Buckets, and I am making a total mess, but I want to come in so you can see, whoop, the roots. All right, so we're gonna get this in before I make a total mess. Get that in nicely, and then I'm going to just make sure I backfill and press it in. This is usually when I have another container to help hold the soil in, so I'm gonna have to definitely go and grab one. There we go. And since this is pre-moistened, I'm not going to water it in again. However, I will be adding afterwards some vermiculite to all of them. All right, and we have one down. How great is that? All right, I'm gonna do these, and actually I'll do one more with you, and then we'll speed through them. Because again, if you're new here, I do all of my gardening during nap time. So I have a little 2-year-old right now sleeping, and my daughter is watching. Oh, look at this one, came out so good. Here is another one. Yay! My daughter is watching Zootopia too, so she is content with some snacks and a new good movie. And then we will be going outside probably so I can try and get some more of my frost cloth up and my hoops. So hopefully I can get some ranunculus out there in the next few weeks. But it's kind of windy, so I don't know if it's a good idea to do so. All right, backfilling right now, lightly pressing all around, and then the best part is just move the tag on over so you know what your dahlia is. And I like this so much better than starting seeds because you know exactly what you're getting, and I can get them all together. I am going to clean this mess up quick. I'm going to get another bottom tray to try and get all of the soil contained so that way it's not all over the place. But we're going to speed through this, and then I'll show you what the final product looks like, and we should be good for the day. And there you have it, simple enough. We have our cuttings all nicely potted up. We have our seeds started, and I still have lots that are still taking their time and getting their roots developed. I feel like I read it says anywhere like 10 to 12 days or so for them to develop roots, but don't quote me on that. But I think I remember something about being 10 days or so. But I took this, let's see, on the, so actually, I wrote the date down, so that will help. So today is going to be the 14th, and I did this on the 25th of February. Okay, so a little bit more than 2 weeks, I would say. Or maybe it's just 2 weeks since I actually noticed that I really need to pot them up. Like some of them, the roots were coming completely out of the drainage hole and even growing up and over the 6L pack walls. So maybe I waited a little bit longer, but yeah, 2 weeks or so sounds great. So I'm going to make sure I keep an eye on the other ones. I have a ton of other cuttings that I need to be on top of as well. And then I'll probably start slowing down. Like I don't need a crazy amount of every single variety. I just wanted to grow my collection, and I'm running out of space. Like I really need to pot up these tomatoes behind me. And today we are starting also mountain mint. So I just want to say thank you so much for following me along in my journey of growing all the things. We started off with just vegetables, and then we slowly got into flowers. And look, here we are taking dahlia cuttings. I would have never thought I would ever have to do this process if you asked me, you know, even like 2 years ago. So this has been super fun. And if you would like to stay updated and see everything that is growing, our last frost date is going to be in about 2 months. So I'm very excited with that. And in about 2 weeks or so, I probably will start waking up some of my dahlias. However, I noticed that some of the eyes are already waking up because it's kind of warm in my basement where I am keeping them, and I'm too afraid to kick them back out to my unheated garage because it's still in like the 20s at night. So I don't know, we're going to have to figure that out because I'm just a little nervous that I might lose some. But hey, stay tuned. Go ahead and click like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I will see you all next time. Happy gardening.